Okay, I've tested this about a million times and I think it's time to just go for it. I bought this microphone before I even moved to Calgary, so it's been a long time coming. I haven't been on social media very much since I moved. And I think that that was honestly very necessary. This entire transition has been a huge awakening to some deeper healing that I needed to do in more solitude. But I definitely have noticed that one of the big things that I'm missing since moving is my community. It's a big part of what makes me me. And coming to a new place and not knowing a lot of people, I feel like that's lacking from my life. As I've navigated my own healing, I've wanted to pull back to kind of figure out how I can integrate the lessons that I've learned that will be meaningful and impactful to others. But I think one thing that I've noticed about myself is I definitely struggle with perfectionism, and I wait until the perfect timing when everything seems just right to finally pursue what it is that I want to. And I think I'm realizing that there really never is a perfect time. You just need to do it. I also thought that this would be a great way to kind of connect again with my community back home. Thank you to anyone who even opened this video and have even made it this far. I think that this is a good way for me to kind of keep those relationships alive that I grew in Kelowna, and hopefully create more opportunities to meet new faces and connect deeper with people in Calgary and hopefully across the world. Definitely my big time dream is to connect with people from all different places in the world. It's funny, a while ago, I remember someone asking me what my dream job would be. And I remember saying, you know what, like I genuinely don't know what that exact thing is. Along my life, like I've tried to attach myself to certain jobs or identities, and I think the more that we cling to those things, the more we keep ourselves in a box. I don't I don't ever want to do that. But yeah, I remember saying to this person that I don't know what that thing is, but I know that I'm meant to connect with people. And however that manifests in my life, I trust that that is meant for me. And again, it could develop in so many different ways, depending on the season I'm in my life. And I feel like that's the same for all of us. We just really need to trust our journey and what the universe brings forward. And really, we just need to go with what feels right in the moment. Um, Life is unpredictable. And as much as we want to try and control our outcomes, anything can happen in the blink of an eye, and we need to be willing to pivot. And so by remaining detached, I feel like it allows so much more richness in life. We are then opening ourselves to whatever opportunities find us. So, with that being said, I figured I would do kind of a update on my life before moving to Calgary. I said to myself for quite a few years, as much as I love Kelowna and I loved everything that I created there, I felt like I was just kind of stuck. Like I was feeling a little bit stagnant in my life, and I knew I needed to make some sort of change. But I feel like, you know, when we're comfortable somewhere, it's very easy to just stay. The fear of the unknown is, I think, heavy on all of us. And being able to take those risks and just blindly trust when our soul is telling us to do something, that sense of control that we may think that we have is kind of shattered in those experiences. I just, I kept on feeling that, but I could never make the move. And I just kind of took this opportunity when I met Cody and knew that he was my person. There was no sense in waiting to make this move. Before even meeting Cody, it's so crazy to think that just a year ago, my life was so different. I had moved to Williams Lake for a very short period of time where my parents live. I was actually going back to school. I went back to school to finish my psychiatric nursing program that I had started in 2020. And long story short, I chose to finally completely withdraw from that path. It's so crazy because for years I knew that it wasn't the right fit for me, but I never could trust myself. And I realized this third time around while trying to go back that I was being given this, I'll use the word test, but I don't really think that's the right term because I don't think the universe is testing us necessarily. Um, I think there are more opportunities to exercise our growth and finally stop repeating a pattern that we have been repeating for so long. And I realized that, like, for one, becoming a nurse, I felt like I needed to do that to be valuable in the world. Like, I needed to go to school and complete a program and get a degree or whatever to be important in the world and for people to take me seriously or respect me. I was just in constant like inner turmoil pursuing this path. And I feel like, yes, life is always going to have challenges and we need to overcome those challenges. Not, there's no thing in this world that's just easy. But at the same time, I feel like when we are moving in alignment with our path, there is an ease to those challenges. And when we're met with like so much resistance, I feel like that's a sign that we're like something is trying to redirect us. And I finally realized like I need to trust myself. Like I know what's right for me. And regardless on what everyone thinks, of course, like I wanted to impress my family and I met a lot of resistance with like certain very important people in my family when I told them that I didn't want to continue doing this. But one thing that was extremely healing for me is when I talked to my mom about this and she saw how much I was struggling. And she said to me, "You are never going to disappoint me." The only way that I could disappoint her is by disappointing myself and to do something that doesn't feel right for me. I decided to withdraw from school, and then I have a tendency of, I kind of like fell back into a pattern of feeling like I always need to do something to, again, be important in this world. And so I immediately jumped into pursuing my personal training certificate and tacked on a Pilates certificate onto that. And no regrets, because I definitely feel like that's in alignment with where I am meant to go in my life. But I think my, again, problem has always been with like frantically jumping into the next thing and never taking a moment to slow down and reflect. So, anyways, I started that right away. Was living again with my parents, and then things went south pretty quickly. I have had a bit of a complicated relationship with my parents for my a lifetime. But at the end of the day, I know that they love me. And as we get older, I think we realize that like our parents are just people trying to figure out life just as much as we are. And they also have demons, they also have wounds and trauma that they're operating from. And it can be really hard to face those traumas. And when we don't, unfortunately, our subconscious our subconscious takes over, and we're always operating from those wounds. And as much as what happened with my family was hurtful, I finally reached a point where I realized it was never personal. um at the end of the day, again, I feel like most of us have heard this at some point in our life, but like the way that we treat others is honestly a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. When I meet people with that consideration, when someone treats me poorly, I actually feel sad for that other person because I understand like they must be hurting so much inside and they're not able to face those demons within themselves. And that's really sad because then you're just stuck in the torture of your mind all the time. And yeah, I did go through a very hard time during that period, but at the same time, again, I feel like everything that happens in our life is an opportunity. And as I sat with these different things that happened in my life, it helped me uncover these really deep seated beliefs that were holding me back in my life. And one of them being that, like, everything, every relationship that I had in my life was basically me replaying a relationship from my childhood. And particularly in romantic relationships, I was always trying to heal my relationship with my dad through that partner. And the beliefs that I had surrounding how I perceived my dad to think of me, I found partners that mirrored that. And I truly don't think I would have been able to receive the love that I have with Cody if I didn't have this smack me right in the face um, at the time that it did. So when this thing happened with my family, I immediately moved back to Kelowna. Kelowna has always been my safe space. Even after my last relationship 5 years ago, as soon as we broke up, I moved to Kelowna. Um, it's just always felt like home. And yeah, again, it's just always been my safe space. So it's always been where I run to when things get hard. And I've even felt myself wanting to do the same thing since moving to Calgary and like facing the challenges of a big transition like this. I found myself wanting to run back home. But then through that, I've realized I kind of am a runner, and being a runner isn't a good thing. We need to be willing to sit with these uncomfortable feelings so that we can actually transcend them. But yeah, I moved back to Kelowna And this was just over a year ago. And as soon as I moved back, again, it was like, what do I do now? And so I decided to start a business. And that was great. And I think, again, like every step that we take in our journey is necessary. We're meant to learn different things from whatever it is that we're experiencing. But again, I was just like always running into the next thing because now I'm realizing I was too scared to sit with myself. But I will give myself a little bit of grace. I have always been very, I shouldn't say always, but like for quite a few years, I've been very active in my healing journey. And I have taken time to obviously journal. And again, if anyone knows me, that's something that I love doing. Writing is something that makes me feel the most me. I feel like it's the easiest way for me to express myself. So I have taken a lot of time to sit with myself that way. But I feel like over the years, I kept on like again hitting roadblocks. I'm like, there's something missing here and I don't know what it is. Like I keep on doing all these things. I can say all the affirmations, but like I still keep repeating these patterns and I don't know how to surpass them. So, yeah, started the business and then I met Cody in December. I swear it was like days before his birthday. And so crazy. Like immediately, I get this really good thing in my life, and I could feel my nervous system trying to sabotage it because what the heck, someone actually cares about me? That's weird. That's not familiar. That's obviously not in alignment with the beliefs that I've told myself my entire life. Like, this can't be right. This can't be safe. And I caught myself directly in those moments and I chose to challenge myself. And I don't think that if I had that awareness in those moments that I would be where I am today in my relationship. I would have found some way to fuck it up. But God bless. Here we are. Um but yeah, so we start this amazing relationship. I feel like I want to save the story of us for a different video. But yeah, Calgary. So a year ago, I was in a completely different place. I feel like had hit like somewhat of a rock bottom and I kept on hitting dead ends and I just didn't know what else to do. And then on top of that, I forgot to add not long after meeting Cody, I've been dealing with a lot of health issues for quite some time. And in February of this year, I got a diagnosis of PCOS. And for anyone that doesn't know what that is polycystic ovarian syndrome. That it has a lot to do with your hormones, insulin, cortisol, stress, lots of different factors. And as much as that was hard news to share, again, opportunity. And to me, I don't believe that physical illness is just a coincidence. I feel like it is a manifestation of something deeper. And the more that I learned about PCOS, I realized that my trajectory in life played a huge role in my diagnosis. I remember I went to a naturopath when I moved to Calgary and she told me that like this is not your fault. And as much as I know that she was like trying to comfort me in that moment, I actually feel like that's more disempowering than empowering, because then it gives us this idea that like we don't have to take any responsibility for the things that happen in our life. So, anyways, I get this diagnosis of PCOS. That was the thing in my life that it was like the pivotal moment, basically. And it kind of changed everything for me. And I think that that's like the gift of illness and disease, to be honest, is it's an invitation to go deeper. I feel like when we have ignored the signs that our body is giving us for so long, eventually it has to scream. Like they begin as little whispers, and if we don't listen, it's going to start screaming. And that's when illness and disease start showing up in the body. And I had to take a huge look at what I was doing in my life. And a huge part I was doing wrong is feeling like I always have to be doing something. So for me, like this year, a huge priority was getting my health in order. And a big missing piece of that puzzle was unconditional love for myself that I was lacking. Not, it wasn't consciously. Like, I feel like consciously I was like, I do love myself. Like, I remember my best friend, Ashley, shout out. um, she told me, she's like, you can't not love yourself. Like, look at all the things that you're doing to better yourself. Like, that doesn't add up. Like, you do love yourself. And again, I'm like, yeah, like that makes sense in my head. But there's something deeper. Like, I don't know what it is. And again, it's like our subconscious beliefs that until we really like deep dive and bring them out to the surface, they're always going to be there, and they're always trying to trick us back into old patterns. And again, I don't even want to use the word trick, because at the end of the day, those demons within us, like they're not actually there to destroy our lives. They're actually trying to protect us. And the problem that we continue to face is like we think these demons are these scary monsters, and so we keep running from them, keep running from them, keep running from them. But if we actually took a moment to stop, turn around, and look these demons in the face, we would realize that they actually just want a hug and to know that they're loved too. All of these demons that are within us are actually parts of ourselves that we have rejected and put in the shadows. And when you think about that, again, like it makes sense. Like these parts of us that we have made, we've made ourselves believe are shameful or embarrassing, or they make us unlovable, we just like hide them in the dark. But like, how lonely is that? And like, if I was one of those demons, I'd feel pretty sad too. I'd feel I'd feel pretty unlovable. I'd feel unaccepted, and I would be constantly chasing something to make me feel that love. And there we go. There are the patterns that we're repeating. When we're constantly like gripping at things in our life, it's those demons that are trying to finally like be accepted and loved. But most of the time, we're too unconscious to witness that. And so we let those subconscious patterns run our life. And that is what I've been doing for a really long time. And you know what? It's a constant journey. I don't think that ever stops. And that's why we just need to trust our path, because things will always be illuminated to us if we are committed to the journey of evolving. When I moved to Calgary, my soul knew that I was ready for this next step. And I decided to listen to that whisper. But I didn't know what that had in store for me. And I feel like I've always been pretty optimistic and positive, and I feel like sometimes it's been a fault in ways, like toxic positivity to a degree, because I feel like being overly positive has just been a way for me to invalidate my own feelings sometimes. And sometimes we just need to like sit with our emotions and let them tell us what they need to tell us. And a lot of the times they will uncover pretty amazing things, and they will let us know like where we haven't healed and what we need to work on. And that's a really beautiful thing. So if we choose not to run from them, they can teach us a lot of really great lessons that will benefit us in our life. But I feel like my mind wasn't quite ready for what my soul had in store for me. And I moved to Calgary, and life like slowed down times 100. Before I moved from Kelowna, I was working 3 jobs. I was constantly making plans with friends. So I really didn't have like a ton of time to myself. And like but at the same time, I did make time for it in like certain moments. But I didn't think, I don't think I realized how much time I needed. And that's why I've really taken this time to withdraw, because after like years and years and years of leading myself to burnout, really, it takes time to recover from that. And it takes time for our nervous system to detect safety. And until we actually find stillness, like our nervous system never will feel safe enough to heal. And so moving here was a huge shock. And like our nervous system, the way that it works, like we are programmed based off of our experiences. So I came from a pretty like chaotic upbringing, and I kind of continued that trajectory in ways that I disguised as healthy. But again, after sitting with myself for enough time, I realized like I was still living in chaos to a degree. But again, like our nervous system grasps for what it is familiar with. Anything that isn't familiar feels unsafe. So for my nervous system, slow, steady, secure, that felt very unsafe. And moving here really made me realize how dysregulated I guess I was. That is also such a blessing, because if I didn't have this opportunity, I would have just kept on repeating the same old thing over and over and over again. And who knows where I would have ended up. But God is good. And when we choose to live life with awareness and the openness to continue becoming a better version of ourselves, the doors continue opening and the insights continue pouring in. And yeah, I feel like one of the biggest lessons was healing is less to do with doing and more to do with being. And I finally gave myself that space, but it has come with like a lot of challenges. Nothing in life is easy, but when we are in alignment, the challenges that do come up do feel a little bit easier. And so as much as like it's been really hard to adapt to this new way of living, I have such an amazing partner that has embraced me in every moment and has allowed me to experience the feelings that I'm feeling and has given me space to like fully feel them. I'm never met with like judgment, or he's never gaslighting me like I've been in the past. Like I always have room to feel, and that is how it should be. It really is. But it's not how it was for me ever in the past. So that's really weird. It's really weird and hard to adapt to. But I've been met with ease in those challenging moments because I have someone by my side that lets me be me and ride the waves of life. And if we give ourselves again the space to feel these emotions, we can finally set them free. But the more that we just keep on shoving them down, they just get stuck, and eventually they're going to start creeping up again. So it's just like phenomenal what happens in stillness. Like, if you had to do anything, just be still. And I feel like, again, another video for another time. Because, like, what is stillness? Like, am I just going to sit there and like expect good things to happen to me? No, not necessarily. Like, you still need to like function in the world and take aligned action and all the things, but stillness is so important. We can't keep on boomeranging into the next thing and expecting something different to happen. Like, I think, what is it? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. It's never going to work, ever. And until we give ourselves time to like sit back, reflect on what is happening, what are the patterns that I'm repeating? Like, how can I do things differently? We can't dissect any of that until we find stillness. And so yeah, I've found a lot of stillness in Calgary. And I've been given a lot of like very beautiful opportunities. I started working at a yoga studio and I've met some pretty phenomenal people. It's also so crazy, like, again, how the world works. But 2025, like when I was intention setting, I have like a huge list in my phone of all the different intentions I had. And like a big one was regulating my nervous system. And so I was also like very interested about somatics. I had been for a really long time, and even like yoga as well, which I believe is a form of somatics in itself. Um, but again, I just never made the time because I was freaking boomeranging while I was back at home. So I had this like desire in my heart, but I was just like a chaotic mess. I don't want to say that. I feel like I'm making it sound a little bit dramatic, but you know, just stuck in a loop. And yeah, so I had written in my intentions how I wanted to regulate my nervous system. I feel like everyone's hearing that a lot these days. But It's pretty amazing when we set intentions. If we just like we set the intention, it's there. We don't like force it into our life, but like it's in our heart. Again, like the opportunities just begin popping up in our life. And that's kind of what happened with my experience with Yoga Passage. I met a very amazing woman. Her name is Lindsay. She is a somatic practitioner. She's also a yoga instructor. She teaches a lot of yoga classes at Yoga Passage where I work, and she incorporates somatics into her practice. And it was like those classes have been life changing for me. And I finally realized I'm like, I think that's the missing piece. Trauma. If we don't deal with it, if we just again like keep swallowing our emotions and our feelings, they get stuck and they get stuck in our body. And we need to find ways to release that. And somatics is a very, very beautiful, amazing way to do that. And so I started going to these classes and I found myself crying just for no reason. But like also, yes, it was for a reason because I was releasing stored emotion that I had just buried so deep within me. And yeah, through doing that, I finally feel like I found a key to something that was missing in me. Rewind to when I started my personal training course and Pilates. Um, Fitness and health has always been such a passion of mine. But again, I feel like there have been periods in my life where it turned very unhealthy. Like the health and fitness industry, as much as it's, you know, branded to be about health, a lot of people within it are actually not healthy. And as much as their body looks what society deems as healthy and fit, a lot of those bodies are suffering. And I definitely was one of those people. And I've been searching for a way to offer something again that is meaningful and impactful to people that incorporates fitness and movement and eating well in a way that's also like not coming from a place of hating yourself, coming from a place of self-love and having more of like a spiritual twist to it. I don't know. Cuz everything is connected and you can't just work on your body and it not impact like your mental and emotional health to a degree. Like you need to recognize your intentions behind everything that it is that you're doing because that energy impacts you in so many different ways. Like if you are exercising because you hate yourself, like you might look in the mirror and be like, dang, I look good. But like your body could be really suffering inside. And yeah, again, another video for a different time. So I wanted to find a way to offer something to people that could incorporate all of it and so they could find harmony and peace within themselves and not just focus on the reflection in the mirror. Because, man, like that is the least important thing. What it is that you're seeing in the mirror is the least important thing. And I am telling you, you guys, even if you look awesome, if your insides, if you hate yourself on the inside, you can look in the mirror and it doesn't matter how great you look, you will always see a flawed version. And I realized that about myself. As I continued working at Yoga Passage and started going to classes and focusing on like my connection to my body, that was another thing. Like I was like, dang, I really like I am so disconnected from my body. Like even like hearing certain cues, it was like I couldn't, my brain just did not go there. And I was like, what is happening right now? Like this is like simple, like move your freaking elbow. Like it's like I didn't even know my elbow existed. It didn't even know it was like attached to my body. Like simple things like that. And again, like the more that I learned, the more that I realized how trauma impacts that connection with our body. And until we freaking sit with that shit, that's never going to heal. So, yeah, I also ended up taking a break from the gym, which was freaking terrifying for me. But like with my health, I have had a lot of symptoms that just kept on persisting. And like one of the symptoms have been an eye twitch. And I started like noticing when the eye twitch was more prevalent. And a huge factor is stress. And even I was at the gym one time and I was doing a leg day and I was lifting pretty heavy and I remember my eye twitching. And then I think it was that same day, like Cody and I left the gym and we went for coffee afterwards. And I literally felt like I was going to throw up. I was like struggling to breathe. I remember we were driving home and I was like, I just need to like sit in silence. Like I really am unwell right now. And like I was kind of scared. And yeah, I just realized that like my body was really like suffering. Like it needed rest. Do I ever get the hint? Like slow the F down. But patterns are hard to freaking break. Okay, I had to take a little pause. So if you're noticing a little bit of a weird gap in this video, it's because I realized I was freaking rambling for an hour long, you guys. This is why I think I'm more built for like long form content because yeah, I just have a lot to say. Maybe I need to start a podcast. I feel like that is also something that I've been talking about for a really long time. And I would love to pursue that. So stay tuned because that could be coming. But first I need to get through this first video. So anyways, I don't even know how to like wrap it up. I think I'm realizing as well that before doing these videos, like this is why podcasters they have points that they want to hit and it keeps them on track. And that is something that is clearly lacking in my first video doing this. I don't even know what the point is here, but I am just realizing that, every step we take is so necessary to get us where we're meant to be. And we're going to grieve old versions of ourselves. And that's a necessary part of evolving. And we need to meet ourselves with a lot of grace and compassion in those moments because letting go of things can be really tough. And yeah, sometimes it comes with sadness, but I think it's also like very exciting too. There is an ending in our life. Again, I feel like this is such common sense, but there's always a new beginning, and new beginnings are so exciting and so beautiful. It's like this opportunity to experience life in a whole different new way. Being in Kelowna, as much as I loved it, I felt like I was just stuck, and I wanted to become a better version of myself. I wanted to change, but I didn't know how while remaining in that same energy. And I think we also need to recognize that just because certain chapters come to an end in our life, it doesn't mean that they were bad. When things go sour, it's similar to like the whispers that I mentioned. Like, we know pretty early on when things are coming to an end, but the problem is staying for too long. And I think what we need to learn is that just because a certain chapter is closing, it doesn't need to be bad to move on. Like, you don't have to wait until the world is crashing to make a change. You need to trust the whispers of your soul. You need to just take that next step, and you need to just trust what unravels. And when you choose to say yes, life becomes so rich and so beautiful. Like, we are meant to grow in this lifetime. Look at nature, for example. Like, nature is a direct reflection of the way that we are supposed to live. And we are entering winter, but before winter comes, the leaves fall. And that is nature letting go of something that it no longer needs to hold on to, so that it can finally like transition into this new season. And then winter comes and it's time to reflect and recharge. And then spring comes and it's new beginnings. And I feel like we really need to pursue life like that. We need to see ourselves that way. We truly are nature. If we just allow the natural rhythms of our being to guide us, we will never be led astray. So, very long story short, moving to Calgary has come with many challenges, for sure. More so because I've been gripping so tightly to old versions of myself. And I am noticing that as I begin to soften, I'm able to embrace this transition, this new place, this new opportunity more gracefully. But it's taken a lot of time, and that's okay. And I still really miss my friends. I still really miss my family. I still really miss the lake. I miss all the people, that the entire community, and just like the love, all of the love that I felt in Kelowna, and the way that it like helped me become the version that got me to where I am today. Yeah, it's just such a beautiful place, and it was such a necessary part of my blooming. But it doesn't mean that it's the only place that I can bloom. Kelowna will always have a special place in my heart, and maybe one day I'll end up back there. But I know that I need to trust the experience that I'm in now. It doesn't mean I don't have so much love in my heart and gratitude for everyone that touched my life there. It just means that it's time for me to take the next step in my journey. And Calgary is a part of it. It's led me to learning so much about myself, and helped me let go of an attachments that I've had. And that is such a blessing. And so with that being said, thank you for listening to this. And I really look forward to the opportunity to continue having conversations. We can build a community that feels safe to explore parts of ourselves that may feel a little bit scary. I am sending so much love and light to all of you. we will chat again.